Welcome, football fans, to one of the most electrifying sports entertainment channels on YouTube today. This is Tim Reynolds' show, and this is my 2025 NFL season preview for the NFC East Division. And guys, I cannot believe it actually happened. Jerry Jones actually did it. The Dallas Cowboys traded Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, the same franchise that's knocked them out of the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. This is a huge deal. I may have to change all my notes and predictions for the upcoming season for the Dallas Cowboys, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure Cowboys fans are loving this trade. You know Packers fans are. And guys, we'll kick things off here in the NFC East with the reigning division and Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. And guys, we'll look at the offense and defensive rankings for the Eagles a season ago. As we see on offense, they rank 7th in points per game, and they rank 2nd in rushing offense, but ranked 29th near the bottom of the league in passing offense. So quarterback Jalen Hurts will look to stay healthy the whole season and help improve this passing offense heading into the 2025 NFL season. Looking at the defensive ranks for the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles a year ago, they ranked 2nd in points per game and also ranked 10th in rushing defense, a top 10 unit there, but also were the number 1 passing defense last year in the National Football League, especially with that young secondary stepping up with those 2 young rookies that they drafted that definitely helped them get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl championship. So we'll look at this defense as a very promising defense heading into the 2025 NFL season, especially with all those young core pieces that general manager Howie Roseman has been able to draft for that Philadelphia Eagles franchise. We look at some key additions for the Philadelphia Eagles this 2025 NFL offseason. They were able to add some running back depth, adding running back A.J. Dillon, and also added a veteran for that secondary, bringing in quarterback Adoree Jackson. But they also were able to draft linebacker Jahad Campbell from the University of Alabama in the first round, a steal of a draft pick here if you ask most draft experts, and Campbell should fit in very well in that linebacking core for the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And looking at my breakout player and impact player for the Philadelphia Eagles heading into the 2025 NFL season, Tim Reynolds shows breakout player for the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going with linebacker Nolan Smith. Even though he got hurt near the end of last year, he definitely broke out as one of the best linebackers for this defense, but I'm expecting even more of a breakout from this guy who is going to be a star, in my opinion, in the NFL for years to come, as long as he can stay healthy. So I'm looking at linebacker Nolan Smith Jr. to have a big impact and be a breakout player for the Philadelphia Eagles defense this upcoming season. And my impact player for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think tight end Dallas Goedert has got to be their impact player, because I think if he stays healthy and they're able to have another outlet for quarterback Jalen Hurts to help improve this passing game, I think tight end Dallas Goedert is going to have a breakout year, especially in a contract year after they restructured his contract over the offseason after he's missed so many games over the last 2 seasons. Dallas Goedert is going to be looking to prove something here. That's why he's my impact player for the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming season. And guys, going over my ceiling and floor predictions for the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming 2025 NFL season, I'm looking at the ceiling being 13-4 for this Philadelphia Eagles squad. I think they're still going to be one of the best teams in the NFC conference, and look out, because I think this defense only got better during this offseason. And I think the passing game is definitely going to improve as long as A.J. Brown can stay healthy. And right now we are hearing reports in training camp and during the preseason before the start of the season that A.J. Brown is still dealing with a hamstring injury. So hopefully he can get healthy and this passing offense can get a lot better with quarterback Jalen Hurts at the helm. And then also, guys, my floor prediction though for the Philadelphia Eagles is 10-7. I think this team is going to be a playoff team no matter what, whether you look at their floor or their ceiling on what their record could be. I just think that this team is going to be one of the top contenders in the NFC East division. This defense only got better over the offseason, and I think the offense is going to get a little bit better. Maybe we'll see those rushing yard numbers come down just a little bit, especially with the historic season that running back Saquon Barkley had last year. But I think the passing game only gets better this upcoming year for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll see how they're able to compete there. But that's my floor and ceiling predictions for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they do have some tough opponents with their upcoming schedule. They do have to face teams like the Rams, the Denver Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Lions, the Bucks, the Bills, and the Chargers. Not to mention, they also got to face the Commanders twice in their division. So we'll see if the Philadelphia Eagles can definitely definitely be playoff contenders and division contenders if they're able to overcome this tough schedule. I believe they will with my ceiling and floor predictions there for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then, guys, coming up next here in the NFC East Division, we're going over the Dallas Cowboys. You know, guys, I had to sneak this one here second instead of going over the Washington Commanders, who also made the playoffs last year, because, oh my goodness, Jerry Jones traded Micah Parsons. I'm so glad I made this video a little bit later, because this news just broke literally less than 2 days ago, and I am just in shock right now, like I'm sure a lot of football fans, and I know a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans are. But hey, we'll go over the offense and defensive ranks for the Dallas Cowboys last season, and it was a rough year last year. They've had a lot of turnover this offseason with a new head coach, and now we'll have to see how this defense is able to be this upcoming season with the loss of Micah Parsons, one of the best young pass rushers in the league. I just honestly believe that this defense is going to struggle to get to the quarterback and get sacks without Micah Parsons on this Dallas Cowboys defense. So, guys, going over the 2024 offensive rankings last year for the Dallas Cowboys, they ranked 21st in points per game. They were 27th in rushing offense and were 11th in passing offense. Now, quarterback Dak Prescott got hurt last year, which of course hurt this offense, and they were trailing a lot of their football games, which is why their running game wasn't as good as far as the rankings here. So they've got to get better at running the football and being more consistent on offense, and hopefully staying healthy as well, not only along that offensive line, but hopefully quarterback Dak Prescott can remain healthy as well, and they'll be serious contenders with that offense if they're able to do so. But looking at the defensive ranks from the year ago, we see they ranked 31st in points per game. They ranked 29th in rush defense, and also ranked 17th in passing defense. So this defense has got to improve a lot if they want to be contenders in this tough NFC East division. But with the loss of Micah Parsons, I don't know if this defense actually got better, but we'll look at some of their key additions from the offseason to see if maybe we should be a little more optimistic about this Dallas Cowboys team heading into the 2025 NFL season. As we look at some key additions for them, a lot of them are on offense, but we'll start with the defense. They did sign defensive tackle Solomon Thomas, who should come in and help improve that defensive front and the run game defense for this Dallas Cowboys team. And they also were able to bring in edge rusher Dante Fowler Jr., who has had a stint with the Cowboys before with defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, who's now the head coach for the Washington Commanders. So Fowler comes in, and he's going to have to replace Micah Parsons essentially to try to be the top pass rusher on this squad. And I just don't know how Dallas is going to be able to do it with those guys filling in those spots. But we look at some other key additions for the offense. They were able to make trades on getting backup quarterback Joe Milton, and also making a good trade for wide receiver George Pickens, who comes in as the number 2 wide receiver now in this offense, which should definitely help out wide receiver CeeDee Lamb and quarterback Dak Prescott. Look out for this Dallas Cowboys offense. It could be a high-powered passing attack heading into the 2025 NFL season. Now, guys, looking at my breakout and impact players for the Dallas Cowboys this upcoming season, I think my breakout player for them is going to be the rookie that they drafted, the running back Don Blue from the University of Texas. I think this guy has a lot of potential to take over the backfield for the Dallas Cowboys. Although they did sign a couple of veteran running backs, I think this guy definitely has a more higher ceiling than those other 2 veterans already on the team, with Miles Sanders and also Javonte Williams, who they got from Denver. He played on Denver last year. So I think that Blue's got a lot better potential to be the RB1 there heading into this season, or especially near midseason for the Dallas Cowboys. So he's my breakout player. And then my impact player for the upcoming season, I got to go with wide receiver George Pickens. I think this guy's definitely going to stand out in this offense with quarterback Dak Prescott, and I look for him to be their impact player in the 2025 NFL season. Now, guys, going over the floor and ceiling predictions for the Dallas Cowboys upcoming 2025 NFL season, we'll first look at their schedule that is littered with tough opponents, including the Green Bay Packers. They'll have to face Micah Parsons in week 4 on Sunday Night Football. That's going to be a tough matchup. They also got games against the Denver Broncos, the Detroit Lions, the Kansas City Chiefs, and then not to mention 2 games against the Philadelphia Eagles, and then 2 games against the Washington Commanders. So it's going to be a tough season for the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, this upcoming year. Now, guys, when I look at the floor and ceiling predictions for the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to be honest with you guys. My floor ceiling for the Dallas Cowboys is 8-9, and my ceiling is 10-7. Now, I thought about changing these numbers after the Micah Parsons trade, but honestly, Micah Parsons would have maybe got got them 1 or 2 more wins. So are they a double-digit win team with Micah Parsons? Probably. But guys, I just think there's way too many holes on this team for this Dallas Cowboys team to be a legit contender. But their offense is going to keep them in games, and that's why I have the floor at 8-9 and the ceiling at 10-7. I think this offense is going to be one of the best passing offenses in the NFL, especially with all the young prospects they have on that offensive line. And you know how good Dak Prescott can be if he's got weapons and time to throw the football. So as long as Dak is healthy, I think this passing game is going to be one of the best in the league. I don't know how good the running game is going to be. We have to wait and see who's going to be the lead back and break out of that backfield. But the defense, to me, I think is just going to be subpar. I don't think it's any better after this Micah Parsons trade, even though they were able to get Pro Bowler defensive tackle Kenny Clark, who should come and help improve that rushing defense. But we'll have to see what happens with the Dallas Cowboys. But that's my floor and ceiling predictions for the upcoming 2025 NFL season for the Dallas Cowboys. And up next, football fans, we got the Washington Commanders, who shocked a lot of people last year with the run that they were able to go on all the way to the NFC Championship game against their division foes, the Philadelphia Eagles. And quarterback Jaden Daniels won the Offensive Rookie of the Year last year in 2024, and now it looks like the Washington Commanders have finally found their franchise quarterback. And we'll look at the offense and defensive rankings for the Washington Commanders just a year ago. We see on offense, they ranked 5th in points per game. They also ranked 3rd in rushing offense and were 17th in passing offense. So a very good unit that I think is only going to improve as far as those numbers heading into the 2025 NFL season, especially with all the key additions that they were able to get during the offseason. The defensive ranks last year for the Washington Commanders, they ranked 18th in points per game. They ranked 30th. They're the bottom of the league in rushing defense, but they were top 3, the 3rd best passing defense last year. So although they were able to stop the pass, that rush defense was abysmal, and you could see that in that NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. But they did try to address that during this offseason, and hopefully we'll get to see some improvement from that defensive unit heading into this season. Some key additions for the Washington Commanders, we see they made a couple of really big trades. One for wide receiver Deebo Samuel from the San Francisco 49ers, and then they also traded with the Houston Texans for offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil, and he should definitely come and help improve that offensive line play for the Washington Commanders offense. And then on defense, they were able to bring in defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw, who should help improve that rushing defense, but also were able to get defensive end and pass rusher Von Miller, and I think he's a big addition for this Washington Commanders defense. Now, guys, going over my breakout and impact player for the Washington Commanders in this upcoming season, defensive end Von Miller as their impact player for this upcoming season. I think this is a big addition for Dan Quinn's defense. I think he's going to be at the top of his game and be one of the best pass rushers for this defense. I really do like the addition of Von Miller on the Washington Commanders. And then my breakout player, I'm going with rookie running back Bill Corset Merritt. That's right, guys. This guy that they drafted in this past year's draft, or I believe actually is an undrafted free agent if I'm not mistaken. He has been breaking out in camp, and Ja'Cory, who likes to be known as Bill, looks like he could be slated as being the starting running back here for this offense in the upcoming season, especially after the Washington Commanders traded Brian Robinson Jr. to the San Francisco 49ers. So that was their starting running back from a year ago. So they really believe in this running back Bill, and I think he's going to be their breakout player this upcoming season in 2025 for the Washington Commanders. And guys, going over the schedule for the Washington Commanders, they've got tough opponents on their schedule, including the Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and the Denver Broncos, not to mention the Kansas City Chiefs. Then they also have to face the Chargers, and let's not forget, their division's also pretty tough. Dallas is going to be no walk in the park, and then they also got to face the Eagles twice. So we'll see how well this Washington Commanders team should be able to be, especially with the historic run and the big run that they had a season ago. But for me, guys, going over my floor and ceiling predictions for the Washington Commanders in this upcoming season, I think that their ceiling is 11-6, and their floor, I believe, is going to be 9-8. We could see some regression from this team, especially because I just don't see them getting to 12 wins like they did a year ago. So with this tough schedule, I think we're going to see the Commanders take a step down, but still should be a playoff team or a wild card team. And hell, they could even compete for this division if the Eagles, unfortunately, are not able to compete against their brutal schedule as well. The Eagles have a tough schedule, so do the Commanders, so we'll see what they're able to do. video, but this is my floor and ceiling predictions for the Washington Commanders. And up next in the NFC East Division, it's the New York Giants, and after a tough season last year, we'll go over the 2024 offense and defensive rankings for the New York Giants a year ago. And man, hopefully Giants fans will see a much improved team in the 2025 NFL season, because last year was abysmal for Giants fans. As we see the offensive rankings last year for the Giants, they ranked 31st in points per game. They also ranked 23rd in rushing offense and were 28th in passing offense. So this team was not able to score points very well, especially in the red zone. So they're going to have to look to improve on all bases of the offense in order for them to be contenders this upcoming season. And guys, looking at the defensive ranks for the New York Giants a year ago, they ranked 21st in points per game. They ranked 27th in rushing defense, but ranked 8th in passing defense. So this defense is showing some promise, especially with all the young pass rushers that they now have on the defensive side of the ball. I think we could see this Giants defense take a big leap forward this upcoming year. I definitely think the defense is going to be the strength of this team heading into the 2025 NFL season, especially when you're able to guy like Abdul Carter in the NFL draft. This was a big pick for the New York Giants, a premier young pass rusher out of Penn State. I think that Abdul Carter is definitely going to be a big impact player for the upcoming season for that defense for the New York Giants. But guys, looking at some other key additions from the offseason for the New York Giants, they were able to bring in a couple of quarterbacks, including their new starting quarterback, the veteran Russell Wilson, comes in and he will be the starter for the New York Giants in the 2025 NFL season. They also brought in veteran backup Jameis Winston to help out the young quarterback Jackson Dart, who they traded back up into the first round to draft the quarterback out of the University of Mississippi in the SEC, where he set the Ole Miss all-time passing yards record for a quarterback in his career. So hopefully Jackson Dart will be able to live up to this first round pick selection, as the Giants traded back up in the draft to select him, and he's been killing it in the preseason. We could see Jackson Dart as the starter for the New York Giants by season's end, especially if the season doesn't go the way that Giants fans want it to. And guys, looking at some other key additions, we see they were able to sign safety Javon Holland, who comes from the Miami Dolphins. I think that's a big piece for the defense. And then, like we've already mentioned, a couple of rookies that I think are going to be big impact players for them on defense: Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State, and then also kind of under the radar guy, running back Cam Scatterbo, I believe will end up being the RB1 by the end of the season for this New York Giants team. And I think he's going to be a very, very good running back for the Giants. It just depends on how well that offensive line can run block, let alone pass block, for this season coming up, because I really do think the Giants' weak point on this team is their offensive line. So we'll have to see how well the Giants are able to play and run the football heading into the 2025 NFL season. So guys, going over my breakout and impact players for the New York Giants this upcoming season, I think my breakout players got to be wide receiver Malik Nabers. I think as long as he's able to stay healthy with the promise he was able to show last year, being one of the best receivers, I think, coming up in the league right now, one of the best young receivers in the league right now, I think Malik Nabers is a guy that now, with quarterback Russell Wilson, a good solid veteran, throwing him the football, or possibly the young gunslinger in Jackson Dart, I think the breakout player for the New York Giants is definitely going to be wide receiver Nabers. And then also, guys, my impact players for this upcoming season, I think those are going to be both those rookies that I mentioned. The edge rusher Abdul Carter and running back Cam Scatterbo, I think, are going to make big impacts, not only on the offense but also on the defensive side for this New York Giants team. So look out for both of those rookies to make an impact. And then, guys, going over my floor and ceiling predictions for the New York Giants heading into the 2025 NFL season, I think the ceiling for them is going to be 8-9, and my floor is 5-12. Guys, you're going to go through some speed bumps with this New York Giants team. Like I said, I think they got the worst offensive line in the division, so it's going to be a struggle for them to be able to compete with the Eagles and the Commanders and even the Cowboys, because even though I don't like the Cowboys defense, I think the Giants have a better defense, one of the better defenses probably in the NFC. I just don't think it's going to be enough to be able to keep up with the high-powered offenses, especially the passing offenses that they're going to be facing. You look at their schedule, not to mention their division opponents. You got the Commanders and the Eagles twice, and the Dallas Cowboys are not going to be any walk in the park for the Giants. They never seem to be. But they also have opponents like the Denver Broncos. They got the Kansas City Chiefs, the San Francisco 49ers, the LA Chargers, and not to mention the Packers and the Lions. And with that very tough schedule for the New York Giants, that's why I'm going with my predictions being a floor of a 5-12 record and a ceiling of an 8-9 record for the upcoming 2025 NFL season. And I go over my NFC division picks as we see here. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles at number 1, Washington Commanders to finish at number 2, the Dallas Cowboys to finish at number 3, and the New York Giants to finish at number 4 in the division. And this has been Tim Reynolds Show's NFC East preview and predictions right here on one of the most electrifying sports entertainment channels on YouTube today. It's Tim Reynolds Show. Now let's go. Guys, please make sure you hit me up in the comments on what you thought about these previews and predictions. Let me know in the comments. Appreciate you guys on all your feedback, and please make sure you like and subscribe to Tim Reynolds Show and check out more of my NFL content and news for the upcoming 2025 NFL season. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, football fans. Peace out, everybody, and good luck to all you football fans, especially in the NFC East, because I know them Cowboys fans are going to be tough to deal with this upcoming year. You heard? Hey, peace out.